Hello and welcome to my channel. I will show you what is GDInterface, how to use it, how to install it, what you can do with it. GDInterface is a plugin for Godot 4.0 and later version. It's in the asset library, so if you search for GDInterface you will find it here. Don't mind the broken logos. This will be resolved in the next update. So to use it, you need to search for GDInterface and then download it and then install it. I will not install it this time because this is not the latest version what I want to show you. Instead, I will use the last version that is on GitHub. The link will be in the description. So you just need to do code, download zip. You have the zip here, double click, you have add-ons folder, and either you don't have any add-ons in your project, you just drag add-ons here, or if you have already multiple other plugin, you just grab what is inside GDInterface folder and you drop it inside add-ons. So once we have add-ons inside our project, we go into project settings and we ensure GDInterface is enabled. So you will have GDInterface, a little dog here. These are some minor settings. Here you have a folder for your interface where you will you yourself create your interface, and the option to enable code verification, because my plugin will check your code when you save your script, and it will check for interfaces variable and if they are correctly used or not, and it will generate error or nothing if everything is fine. But since it scans all your script and you have a big project, it can be slow. I don't know, I didn't test it, maybe it's still relatively fast, but I have the option to disable it if you don't want the error, the scan to occur. So either you can use this folder or you can create your own. You can, for example, I know some people do scripts folder, and inside your script you can create interfaces, and then you just need to copy the path, you paste it here and you go check, and it should work. Or you can just modify it here, interface. So if it's red, the folder doesn't exist, and if it's green, the folder exists. You can check, and now it's validated. You can close this. You have inside your project settings, here we have plugins, GDInterface, and it's the same. So I showed you what is GDInterface, how to install it. So what is new from the last time, my last video I did a couple weeks ago. So inside the folder we have a doc folder where you can see a diagram. So this is a class diagram. It describes what is inside the plugin. In green you have the plugin class, interface or resources with 3 variable and 4 method. You have interface type, and you have GDInterface that is a singleton. The GDInterface singleton is used as a middleman between the two entities that need to interact via interface. So for example, entity A can be your enemy that you want to damage, and entity B is your projectile, and then your projectile collision with the entity A, or with your enemy, and just what it does is your projectile will check is this thing that I touch implements interface damageable, and if it does, okay, so execute the damageable function. So your projectile will do GDInterface execute collision object, interface type, so it will be a damageable interface. You have the license, the README. You should read the README. It describes how it works and how to use it, so you don't need to watch the video again. So what is new from the last time is the template. So for when you create interface, there is a template script, so you don't need to do anything. I will show you later how I will show you how to create interface. Here I will just make a demonstration on multiple features that you can implement in your project thanks to my plugin. So we can move here, we can shoot stuff. We have here a crate that asks to destroy it, so just shoot it and boom. When the projectile hits the crate, it explodes. Here we have a light switch. You can do E and it shuts off and it lights on. Here we have a door that you can open and you can close. And here we have 3 enemies that you can shoot, and when they die, they get destroyed. And this is just 2 interfaces that can make 4 different actions. So how the interaction works? So we have the door that we can interact with and the light switch. Let's start with the door. So the door have an interactable object, and this interactable is initialized with toggle door function. So when you create an interface, you need to feed it a callable. You can have arguments, you can have a return type. I will show you later how to do that. But what it does is my player has a recast, okay, in front of it, in the camera. And when my recast hits something, we check if the recast collision is not null, so we hit something. We ask GDInterface if the recast collision implements interactable. And if it does, we show the label. So as you saw, press E to interact, it will show or it will hide. And if it doesn't, it hides. Okay, so we have a recast collision. And what we do is inside input, when I hit key E, the E button on my keyboard, I check if my recast is not null, and if it is, it's not null. We can ask GDInterface to execute on recast collision the interactable function. That's it. We don't need to know if the door is a door, or if the light switch is a light switch, or if the door is a light switch. We don't need to check anything. Hey, is this thing can open the door? Is this thing can switch off a light? Is this thing can do something? No, you can just use you do interact, execute interactable on this thing, and if it has an interactable function, it do it. If it doesn't, nothing happens. So this is interaction on the door. And what about the light switch? So the light switch have a light and interactable that is also initialized with toggle light function. So when we interact with the light switch, we check if it's toggled, so if the light is on. If it is, we shut off the light and we pivot the little switch. And if it's not toggled, we toggle the light, so we enable the light and we pivot the switch again. And so the same thing, we just execute interactable. We don't need to call toggle light, or we don't need to call toggle door. Just do interactable. Now I will show you how I make damage. So let's start with the crate. So my crate object is a rigid body. We have a lot of chunks inside it. So I'll show you what it is. So it's not a cube, it's a bunch of cubes. Okay, And what it does, so when the cube collision here, the big cube takes a hit from the projectile, it will apply a force to every other cube. So unshot is the implementation of damageable. So we freeze the cube, we reparent the chunks to the scene tree, and then for every chunk inside the chunks array, we unfreeze it, and then we apply some impulse on it, and we delete it after some time. So between 2 seconds and 8 seconds, and then we can destroy the create object. How this onshot function is triggered? We go to projectile. So this projectile is just a ball with a mesh, a collision shape, and a lifespan. We make the projectile move forward. We take the collision. We check if there is a collision. Take the target as the collision collider, and if the target exists, we just execute damageable, and we pass damage as the parameter, as argument, and then we destroy the projectile. As we can see, onshot doesn't take an argument, but it works, and enemy. So enemy is just a capsule with a health bar, and it has a damageable variable that take damage is the implementation, and it takes a damage value. What take damage does is just reduce the health by the damage amount that we passed it in an argument, and if else is 0, we destroy the enemy. So now that we saw how interact and damage work, I will show you how to create interface. Let's go into the interface folder. We do create script. We inherit from interface, and then we check that template is enabled with interface template. We just give a right name, so my interface, for example, and boom, we have my interface here. And if I open it, it's already set up. You have nothing to do. You can just close it. My interface exists. And for example, I can go to, let's go to create. We can do var my interface. Let's make it my interface new interface function. Okay, we don't care, it's just an example. And we create my interface function. Let's print something, something. Okay, so now in the projectile, what we can do is add GDInterface, execute on target, my interface, get interface type, and that's it. So nothing happened when I shoot my enemies. Well, just take damage, but if I shoot my crate, something. So it took damage and something. So now what if I want to pass an argument? So we already saw that, but what if I want to pass multiple arguments? So you need to put your argument inside an array. By default, you have an empty array that is passed, but you can pass some stuff like the speed of your projectile. If you want to know the speed, you can pass the damage, you can pass self. But working like that it can be difficult. The problem here is that you need to have the right type of argument, the right number of arguments in the right order, and it can be difficult. You need to remember the stuff and all. So what I what I advise is to create a dictionary and you put everything inside. So for example, I want the speed of my projectile, I create speed and I pass the speed. I want the damage, I can do damage and I pass damage. And if I want to pass a random number, so let's put a random float round f. So you pass everything inside a dictionary, you go to your crate, and here you take data dictionary, and what you can do is if data has speed, so let's print data speed. So we have 60, the speed, and something something right after. So yes, the speed is 60. What if we have a random number? Let's print the random number. It's not a random number, it's random float. I messed up. Boom. And what if I want to return something? So I want to return a string. Let's return a string. I'm going to return this is my string return. Don't care. Okay. And what we do is var return, let's say, oh yes, return value equals, and let's print in yellow. So we're going to print return value. Okay. This is my string return. So you can get back the return value. What about the code verification that I talked about? You know, with that, when we validate the code, it enforces the fact that as soon as you declare an interface, you need to implement it. So you cannot do that. If you save, you have an error and also a print in red. So you have create line 6 my interface variable my interface must be assigned with a valid callable. So you need to do equals my interface dot new, and you need to make the interface function. Okay, so I think that's going to be it. If you have something back on my plugin, you can comment below. You can go on my GitHub, open issues. You can also fork the repo and modify it however you want. I think that's going to be the last version of this plugin. I don't know what to do next. You can propose some ideas. I'm open to it. But yeah, that's going to be it. So thank you for watching. I hope you will try my plugin and give me something back. And bye.